pleased to provide an update on our safety plan efforts. And Trimet has made great strides in making safety a really paramount and integral part of its commitment to service excellence. Since the last update to the board, Trimet has made a transition from safety-oriented tasks to one that is a sustainable safety management system. That's what our end goal is, to put that in place. And this is just a model of that system, and I don't want to go into the specific details of it. Maybe we can do that at a later date. But what I do want to do is highlight the basic elements of it and what it does for us. And that is that it really is a decision-making process that becomes part of Trimet's business and operation. It's really how we do business. That's what's important. It's really a self-examination process as well of our business processes, and it helps us to promote a continuous improvement cycle by using specific methods for predicting hazards, gathering feedback from employees, and collecting meaningful data. Then the information is analyzed and assessed to control the safety risks. What this does is it allows us to then begin to develop further actions, share that knowledge and that information with staff and our employees, which ultimately leads us to a mindset of creating a safety culture at Trimet. But what I'd like to do is kind of step back a little bit and put things a little bit in perspective as to how did we get here. So if you remember, in July of 2010, General Manager Neil McFarland commissioned a task force on safety and service excellence to address really how to migrate Trimet to the highest levels of safety performance and thereby improve performance in all areas of its business. What we did was we brought together experts from a variety of fields, and they included from public safety, traffic engineering, professional drivers. UPS actually was a member of that task force, pedestrian advocacy groups, bicyclists, private businesses, all together with our bus and rail operations staff. And this was done over a total of 9 meetings, which led to a report that was released in October of 2010. And the task force worked closely with Trimet staff to provide what is known as the general manager with guidance for further action. The report actually resulted in 19 different recommendations. These were in 4 key areas: Trimet culture, communications and engagement, accountability, empowerment, and tools and systems and processes. So it's a very comprehensive approach to how we could improve our safety program. But this was also done side by side with a technical review by a consultant, K&J Safety and Security Consulting Services. And this was done independently. And they provide a very detailed report of areas they believe we could improve upon. Another task was that we also did a line-by-line review, and this was done by both our training and safety staff. And the end result is that it really resulted in over 200 different separate tasks, which is quite an effort to do in a very short period of time. So in April this year, the general manager asked that the task force reconvene and to assess the Trimet's progress. And the chair of that committee, or the task force, Tom Walsh, actually wrote to us and said that we have made great strides in such a short period of time. What I'd like to do now is I will provide a brief update on some of those activities, and you have a packet that provides much more detail about that. But what I'd also like to note at this time is that we've actually started to see a decline in our collision rates. And it started at a time frame of about April, May, and we're starting to see a slow decline, but I think it's largely due to the efforts of many of these different activities. I can't say it's one single thing. I think it's a combination of many things. And what we hope to see is a continuous decline in that area. And as Neil had pointed out earlier, over 900 of our operators already have gone through an 8-hour safety training class. It's known as a recertification class, and this is a program that has been long-standing with our rail operations. And it's to ensure that frontline employees are up to date and refreshed in the operating skills and incorporating the latest industry standards that's expected for all transit operations nationally. This program was launched in April. The information that I have is that we'll actually, you heard that Neil had said that we hope to conclude this in November. I'm hearing that we may even do it a month early, actually at the end of this month. So to date, as of October 7th, there's specifically 929 operators that have gone through this. Represents about 91% of the workforce. Not only have the operators have gone through the class, but we've also included supervisors and managers in the program. And even some of my staff have attended the program, and it's been very, very well received. What we've also done is we've also put in place a program called Request for Safety Assessment. Initially, this was started in March, and it was for a very limited group. Now the program has been expanded to all employees in Trimet. At the peak, we received about 10 reports a week. The average is closer to about 6. And there's been a total of 181 reports received.
Are these reports from the general public or from the operators?
These are from a mix of operators and other employees. And what was surprising to me was that I didn't think we would see operational issues from non-operating employees, but we actually have seen that happen. And because of that feedback, because they're also customers, they write the system. And so that was important to us to receive that information and act upon it. The average it takes to act upon some of these things is about 42 days, because some of it we can act upon very quickly because we have direct control over the circumstances. And in other cases, we have to interact with other jurisdictions, and that takes a lot of time and coordination. But we also want to make sure that the employees receive some feedback. So when the issue is closed out, they receive a letter. It tells them what actions have been taken. And if we can't act upon it, they're given information as to why we are unable to act.
So Harry, this could be like an improvement of an intersection, restriping or something like that, or some procedural operational change, right?
Exactly.
So it runs the gamut.
It runs the gamut. So if it does require some sort of restriping, then we have to coordinate with our jurisdictional partners. That's not always easy, because they also have other issues they need to deal with.
Are we able to communicate these outcomes more broadly? Use the website, have a page, a couple of links?
We haven't done it in the website, although I think that's a good idea, and we'll look at that. What we have done is we've communicated this with our safety committees, and so they receive the information. Definitely, the employer receives some feedback. We can't act on it quickly. They receive some feedback that gives them a sense of this is being considered, it's in progress, and we'll provide a lot of updates. But we will look at mechanisms for broadcasting this worldwide.
I like what you're doing with the internal audience. It'd be second external audience becomes part of the safety culture as well.
Yes, yes. We'll explore that. We'll explore that. Other areas that we've looked at and have been working on is now every job description now incorporates a statement about safety being a value, and that there's an expectation that they are to use safety in their decision making. Also, we have a very informal program with frontline employees, and we call this Safety Exchange. And we've only done this a couple of times, and it's to gather employees and for them to share their concerns with us. We'll continue to do that as the opportunities arise. But the more formal program that I'll go into a little bit more in just a moment is really with the safety committees, and we're really soliciting input from the employees through that safety committee mechanism. One of the other efforts that we've implemented is a Safety Education Advisory Committee. It's met about 3 times since last March, and the most recent meeting was in September on the 20th. The purpose of the committee is to collaboratively strengthen community presence and promotion of safety programs and services by bringing together community representatives who have an active interest in promoting pedestrian safety, bicycle safety, motor safety. So we have a full range of representatives from Operation Lifesaver, the DOT, and as I said, pedestrian advocacy groups. And what we're doing is we're strategizing and trying to leverage our individual programs. What I'd like to do is just highlight one of those programs right now, but I'll ask Ann Wilson to do that.
Okay. Thanks, Harry. As Harry's saying, we're kind of working together to cooperate on kind of shared campaigns, because one of the first things we did was inventory all our combined safety messages, safety activities, safety programs, and no surprise, we found that we have a lot of the same messages, a lot of the same activities, so we can go forth and leverage those and hopefully avoid duplication, so we all kind of are able to do more with less. And a great example that Harry was mentioning was of leveraging our resources in the upcoming Be Seen, Be Safe campaign. And according to ODOT, one of the reasons why we do this, according to ODOT, between January through June 2010, 41% of pedestrians killed were identified in crash reports as wearing dark clothing. Thus, almost every member of the committee already has some sort of visibility sort of message. So we had a work group from the committee started in August to organize Be Seen, Be Safe campaign this fall. And the key element of the campaign is an event which is taking place November 4th, Friday night, right before daylight savings time. And the event is a lively, fun reminder to individuals of how to be visible through the upcoming dark, rainy months. And the event will also generate considerable media coverage. We designed it to generate media coverage, so that really takes our message far and wide, really gives us a lot more reach and frequency in our media market. And we, at Trimet, we organized an event last year that went well, generated a lot of coverage, but with leveraging the resources of the committee, we're going to be able to do more this year. Reflective fashion show, contest in the most visible pedestrian, the most visible bicyclist, a lit bike ride. BTA does the lit bike ride for us. And visibility makeovers and hula hoop dancers with hoops that glow in the dark. Anyway, you get the idea. It's really probably one of the most fun events that we do. And it's really a fun way, obviously, to get the message across. And in addition to community members, this year we've got some new partners. We've got Let's Say More, Team in Mind, which is the Portland Mall Management Inc. Metro is the continuing partner, Showers Pass, Clever Cycle, and the Bike Gallery. And then transit ads and social media, part of the campaign's promotional mix. And you've got an example of the transit ads. And some of these we still have up from last year, but we're going to roll out a lot more in early November. And also, everyone at the event will get, and I have it in front of me if you'd like to take samples with you, they get their Be Seen, Be Safe blinky. So everybody that comes to the event will at least leave, being a little bit safer on that. So that's just kind of an example of one event that the committee is working on.